Well, hello, Susan. Sorry this took so long to get to you this evening. I just wanted to show you a couple of highlights and some focus points in the video that we looked at. In this turn right here, you're making a turn to the right, and you're about halfway through, so the skis are pointing down the hill. And I want you to just notice that at this point your skis are already parallel. Again, this is not one of your strongest runs that you made today. You made runs that were much, much stronger than this that unfortunately we didn't capture on video. But here we can see that this is a very positive thing to see how you have your skis already parallel midway through the turn. And as you go ahead and finish up the turn, you'll notice that what we're trying to do here is have a little bit of a downward motion to finish and then an up motion to start. And so you have that downward movement of the skis as you're going through the turn here. And then we'll come up to start the next turn and you'll see this upward movement. And so we have this nice kind of down to finish, up to start, down to finish, up to start, down to finish, up to start. And so this is on the steeper part of the hill, and this will actually get a little bit better as you keep moving your way down the hill, and all of a sudden things will even get smoother and more parallel. Look at the start of this turn. There's hardly just a little bit of a wedge there to get things moving, and can't really see on that one, but there was hardly any wedge there at all. And so we're really starting to get the skiing mostly almost parallel and hardly having much wedge there at all anymore at this point. So let's go back and take a look at a couple other points. One is just as you're coming up to start the turn, you can see right here, if we go and we watch your shoulders now, and you will see that they will start turning in the direction of the turn as we come into this turn. So you can see shoulders turning right there. And so we'll come into this next turn and you'll see the shoulders starting to turn and then the hips follow. So it's shoulders, hips. And this is the way your body naturally wants to try to move. It wants to go with the shoulders first and then the hips trying to follow through afterwards. So shoulders come into play there, shoulders, you could see it again there, shoulders and hips, shoulders and hips. And so you're seeing that it is a way to work. Unfortunately, when we turn everything like that, it will end up losing the ability to really edge the ski well near the end of the turn. So when we go to something steeper, you're going to get a whole lot more skid rather than keeping the ski on edge as we finish up the turn. So even though it is a way that you can get the turns to happen with the upper body, we want to try to make the skiing happen from the feet up. So we want to step on the right ski in this case, and then we want to flex this ankle over here. So it would be that same right ankle. So step on the toe to make the first half of the turn, and then to finish up the turn, we want to flex the ankle first to go down, step on the left toe, and then we want to flex that ankle, and you see there you're back on your heel and getting almost an acute angle rather than really flexing down at the ankle. Okay, we'll come up on the right ski, and again we want to try to flex that ankle the best we can. So again, the idea here is trying to ski from the feet up rather than using the shoulders to turn. And the last point that I want to make is right around in here, all of a sudden you're making turns, and one of the things you'll notice is that the elbows tend to be back behind your torso, and you've got a bit of an arch in the back rather than rounding the back out. And so that was just the stance thing that we worked on improving, trying to get the hands forward, rounding out the back. And now you're going to see all of a sudden you'll start throwing in some poles, almost there, trying to touch a pole. And all of a sudden, just out of the blue, you're going to start trying to use the poles, which will help move your hands forward into a better position. Unfortunately, you're a little bit late, and in this case, you're going to touch this right pole, and that's really just a little bit late. Now we're finishing. We want to come up. Now we would want to be swinging and touching the pole in the direction you're going. So in this case, it would be the left pole. So you kind of have a little bit of the swing going there. But you'll actually make the turn, and now that the turn is all over, you'll touch it. So that's just a little timing issue. And again, if we swing the pole and touch it, it helps pull our body in the direction that we're moving. So you actually do the turn and then make the touch, so we'll have a tendency to move your body more uphill rather than downhill. So that's where the timing is there to help move everything down the hill. And we'll see that you kind of move the pole, your left pole here, in the right direction. But you end up touching the pole on the other side, the right pole. So you kind of have the movements there. We just have to get the timing better. We actually talked about this after, sometime after this run. But once we get the pole up, it should touch right now. And again, you're touching on the uphill rather than the downhill side. So if you can never remember which one to do it, it's always the one closer to the bottom of the hill. So some very good things already. Getting skiing parallel, which is very strong for someone with the amount of skiing that you have under your belt right now. And you did a very nice job with the traversing and the making the turns over on the steep slope. And again, you had much smoother, more rhythmic turns, using much more of your feet than your shoulders than this particular run. So again, even as strong as this run is, you had runs that were much better in terms of your body position and you using your feet on up skiing rather than turning your shoulders. So look at this, see the good points, realize that there were even better runs than this, and just kind of read through those points that I have in the email and think about looking downhill and just flowing down the hill, and the poles will help pull you in that direction. So the body wants to be defensive and lean uphill and do the turning, but we want everything to work from the ground up using the feet first. And that will help develop the kind of turning that will get you off onto those steep slopes, which is where you're going to head next. Great meeting and skiing with you this season. Word came in late today. We may actually have a chance of opening next week. So there's a chance we could get in one more practice session. Anyway, great job today. Super fun. And maybe we'll see you next weekend.